broadcasting from the IAEE Expo show floor, and my special guest today is Dennis Smith, the Vice President of Business Development at AAHOA and the incoming IAEE Chair. Thank you for being here, Dennis.
Hi, thank you so much. Happy to be here.
So what I like to do on this podcast is we like to get to know the people and their origin story and how they came to be positions of leadership within the industry. So how did you first get sucked into our industry? What was your first entry?
You're right. I have had a journey, and unlike many here who, let's say, get out of college, find a job somewhere, and maybe read an advertisement like trade show salesperson or boost sales or marketing,
right.
Whatever level you come into or side of the business you come into. Basically, once I finished college, I fell in love with a girl overseas.
Oh.
And so I moved over to a strange country of Turkey, and trade shows wasn't my first job, but it was my second job.
Oh.
And so a local trade show company was looking for a foreigner to kind of build their international sales network. And so when I went to my interview, the head of the company was saying, so you were in the military. So I had served 3 years in the military before that. But he said, you're in the military, we're going to do a defense show. And we are going to invite all the defense manufacturers of the world, kind of something similar to a Paris Air Show.
Okay.
And I said, okay, so what do you guys want me to do? And he was like, well, we want you to go to all of the major trade shows, defense and civil aviation trade shows, and sell to these major defense manufacturers like your Boeings and your Sikorskys and Lockheeds. And so I was like, all right, well, I don't have any experience in this. And they're like, no, you're fine. Military, and you're an American, you speak English, you got this. So they gave me a brochure to study, and I was on my way going
off to the races.
I was going to Farnborough in the UK. I was going to the Paris Air Show. I was coming to the US to some shows. And so that was my first involvement. That was the hook.
Yeah. I mean, and not a bad gig to start with.
No, not at all.
You're not like, I started behind registration desk. No, you went. Right
so I fell in love with the process. I fell in love with the passion that people have for trade shows. And the other thing I fell in love with was the timing of everything, because it takes a year to plan. And for some shows, the turnaround time is much shorter. Sure. But traditional shows are on an annual cycle. You have that long lead up, but then those final 90 days are like, it's go time.
Yep.
What? You want to take a vacation? So basically I fell in love with that. I fell in love with the creativity and the coming together as an industry, or, and I've only done B2B shows. So I fell in love with the industry, and my career has taken many turns. I've worked for many different organizations, but at the end of the day, I fell in love with, the aspect of face-to-face and buyers and sellers coming together. Now, people sometimes don't understand this, but sometimes I talk about us being invisible as organizers, because it's not me negotiating deals on the show floor, it's our customers. Right. And so we are kind of like the orchestrator. We bring everyone together to make the music.
Yeah, and that's actually what the reason why I actually wanted to do this podcast, why I started 2 years ago, was getting to know the people in the industry who actually make things happen, because we, you guys, us, there's no billboards to advertise our company. Nobody knows who we are, and nobody knows who the organizers are. It's just, the event name and the brands that are there. And that's the way it should be, but it's also nice to know who the people are and how it all comes together. So,
correct.
So,
there's so many stakeholders in our industry.
Yeah.
And that's one great thing about IAEE. I'm going to plug the association that I serve. We are doing everything we do for the benefit of the industry as a whole, not just organizers, but also service providers, vendors, venues, destinations. We are looking at the entire ecosystem and trying to serve the best way we know how.
Yeah, and it's a great organization. I mean, I've been coming to these since 2000. So I'm at 22 years here, and yeah, I mean, the sense of community is tighter here. It's funny because we see all the trade shows, and we see that each trade show has its own community. But then, like when we get together, it's like it's our reunion, and the relationships that have fostered here for me over the years has been
It is
real, true friendships, not just business friendships. So,
correct.
yeah, definitely. So where do you, like, where in life, I mean, you said military, even prior to that, where do you attribute that hustle to? Because, clearly you've moved up in positions of leadership, so there's a hustle and grind about you to do the things that you've done in life.
So I have always been in sports. I'm very competitive. My father was a drill sergeant during the Vietnam War. So you can say I had a very disciplined childhood. We got into organizing as a family. We did luau's in our backyard.
Cool.
And I don't think anyone in law enforcement is listening to this, but I was parking cars at a very young age because we'd have like 3 people come into our backyard for our luau, and they would be like, "Here, Dennis, here's my keys. Go park my car."
Did you get tips?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Tips, and drive the car a little bit further than just an open parking spot.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I did that, and I worked all through high school. I was always driven by proving myself, and competitive. I always wanted to excel in sports. I was a wrestler in high school. Played a lot of sports. Played a little bit of basketball, football. So I love the competition aspect, and I think that's what drove me towards more sales-oriented, business development-oriented positions.
Yeah. And is there any standout mentors when you were early in your career that really saw something in you and really helped you?
Yeah, well, the first organization that I worked for, it was literally on-the-job training. There was no way of stopping the machine. Like you just got on and you just tried to figure things out. But then later, after I started my own business, and I created a representative business with a British company, ITE. So I started their business for them in Turkey as a rep, but then I also was organizing my own shows. And I really didn't know the A to Z of organizing trade shows. I was just figuring stuff out. Yeah. And so I had a mentor, a guy named Edward Strawn, who was kind of like the regional director for ITE, and he kind of saw my gaps. And, whether it was from the financial side, understanding how do you do a proper show budget, or how do you do proper floor planning, or how do you, do your content, run a show, and all of that on the production side, like a production schedule. And so he really sat down with me and he taught me like how to go. He gave me my first CEM course, if you will. Yeah. And it was brilliant. I still owe a lot to him because he taught me a lot. And from that business, I started doing acquisitions. And so from that, it wasn't only how to organize a trade show, it was how to value a trade show and how to really understand what your worth is as a trade show for the market that you serve.
Yeah, and it's tough because every market is different, every industry, and then and also the way each one scales is completely different. So yeah, definitely a lot of work going into that. So,
absolutely.
So you're incoming chair at IAEE, and so what are some of the things that you're excited to work with IAEE and some initiatives that you wanna develop or push further along?
Well, IAEE right now is built on 3 main pillars, and one of them is advocacy, the other is learning and communities, and the third one is marketplaces. I, as the incoming chair, as the chair for 2023, I want to continue to work with the team at IAEE And through our collaborations around the world, basically, I want to continue to support that. But as well, what I'm most passionate about or concerned about is I want to help organizations within the industry to help continue to build the ROI of their events to their stakeholders. And also, I want to help people to better understand their strategies and to help be of some help to help people as 23 is not going to be, I think it's going to be better than 22, but I think we're still going to have, challenges.
Yeah.
And then the third thing, and I just want to help, I want to help these companies and our members really understand where their strategies are and how IAEE can help them to formulate strategies or change their strategies so they can be successful. But the third part is probably the most important, and that's workforce development, because I think we really have a challenge on our hands of attracting new talent, retention, and just the training aspect. I mean, people are being asked to do things they've never done before. Like myself, when I first started, I had no idea what I was doing. I was fake it till you make it type situation. And so for workforce development is a big issue. And we haven't forgotten as an association and myself is that, equal pay for women in exhibitions. So we want to make sure that we're still doing our part. And we have a workforce salary workforce study coming out. It's a survey, and I encourage all of those that listen to this podcast to, when they receive that survey, and if they don't, go to anyone at IAEE, send me an email, and we'll get that survey to you so you can contribute. It's important for the industry.
What's the website? It's IAEE.com or okay, IAEE.com. They can go on there, find the workforce survey. So
absolutely
great. Well, we appreciate your servitude. We appreciate everything you're doing, and the organization itself, they do a lot for so many and all that. And how do people find you?
Well, my email is dennis@AAHOA, that's AAHOA.com, and I'm the Vice President of Business Development at the Asian American Hotel Owners Association. That's the acronym full name. We represent approximately 34,000 hotels in the United States, roughly 20,000 members. That's 60% of the U.S. market. And just to give you an idea, that's about 1.7% of the U.S. GDP.
Wow.
So, and the organization I work for, when I first started, I was amazed by the size of the association, but the association is about the true American dream. These are people that came from India with a dream of owning their own businesses. The fate led them to hotels, and they started purchasing hotels, running hotels, buying franchises, and now it's a multi-billion-dollar business. They spend $50 billion in expenses with vendors and suppliers,
and not to mention a workforce.
1.1 million they employ. And so they're very connected with their local and state communities, and we lobby on their behalf on the federal level as well. We have one major event that we do every year. This next year it's in Los Angeles, April 11th to the 14th. And then we are planning to organize about another 22 single-day regional events, which is a small trade show, tabletop, followed by a business meeting, and then by a dinner. And they're very effective because they bring a lot of the local hotel owners that might not be able to make the trip to our national convention.
Yeah.
So it's just another way for vendors to connect.
Set up the We Come to You program.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much, Dennis. I appreciate you being here today, and looking forward to all the new stuff to come.
We have a lot to do as an industry, and we're gonna get through all these challenging times. And I encourage everyone to get involved in your local chapter or at the national level with IAEE. Like I said, send me an email, and we will connect you with the right people. And thank you for having me.